Welcome to Tampa, Florida, in today's podcast episode where I'm talking about budgeting, tracking our money, and it is in chapter 1 of this new book right here, Level Up Your Money. So I wrote a new book about the biblical principles to financial success. I ordered my copy and it came in the mail all smashed up. I don't know if you can see the corner there. I was so happy to get my new book and then sad when I saw Mr. Amazon put all these boxes. I had like 4 things in one big box and my book was smashed. But nevertheless, the new book is now out. We're going to talk about chapter 1 on today's program, which is entitled Know the Condition of Your Flocks. It's about budgeting, and more important than budgeting, it's about tracking our finances. So let me know in the comments where you're watching from. And thank you to Mr. Brian for confirming that our sound is working. We've had all kind of crazy stuff happen here at the new podcast studio, aka my kitchen. if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, you got to get in where you fit in. So that is my kitchen right there. I'm podcasting in the kitchen. But nevertheless, I'm really excited to dive into this. Okay. Proverbs chapter 27. Verse 23 through 24 says, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds, for riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations." So what does it mean to be diligent to know the state of your flocks? Back when this was written in the days they wrote Proverbs, it was common in the economy to have flocks. Now, some of y'all might have chickens. I know my friend Jason Creole, he's got flocks at his house. He's got all kind of animals and things of that nature. But for us, our flocks are more so our bank accounts. Or for those of you who invest into the stock market or whatnot, it would be your stocks or your mutual funds and things of that nature. Those are what would be considered our flocks. And so what does it mean to know well the condition of our flocks? And that would simply mean to be paying attention to what's going on financially in our life. What do we have coming in? What do we have going out? Now, that was written in the Old Testament. And in this new book, by the way, I purely studied the Bible and what does it teach about money. So this is pure, straight out of what the Bible teaches about money. And I found this in Luke chapter 14, verse 28 through 30. It says, it's pretty convicting, but let me read it to you. "For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all those who see it will begin to mock him." So I recently moved to Tampa, Florida, and we have cranes everywhere here, which is promising because it means people are building things. It's nice to be in a city where the economy is booming, growing. They're building stuff. But how embarrassing would that be to build the foundation of, these skyscrapers are going up and these things they're building, and they get about halfway up and then they run out of money and they're like, you know what, I can't finish it. And so it's important on the front end that we calculate how much is this thing going to actually cost me ahead of time. So those are the 2 foundational scriptures for chapter 1, and I'm going to dive into the main points that I make here about budgeting and tracking our money. So number 1, I actually have 5 points. Number 1 is to track every penny. So I literally today, real time, I had a meeting this morning with a lady named Layla. She's been on the podcast 2 times, and her job is she's a budget consultant. So she literally all day long helps married couples, single people, businesses to look at their budget. And what we do at the end of each month is we analyze how the budget went for the month. And so we track or monitor what was actually spent. So we did that today. We looked back and said, okay, here's the budget we set at the first of the month. And then she gives me the spreadsheet with every week on it. And I fill out every week how much I spent on groceries, how much I spent on eating out, how much I spent on golf. Okay. And all the things that you could imagine. And then we compare and the spreadsheet actually does it automatically. Here's what you budgeted. Here's what you actually spent. Did you go under? Did you go over? And then we analyze it, and then we go ahead and we rinse and repeat, and we set the budget for the next month, because no 2 months are ever the same. So again, let me know in the comments where you guys are watching from, and I guess it will tell me if you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. We're live on those three right now. And then, of course, we will have it on Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasting. And I know this isn't the most sexy topic to talk about, tracking your finances. And as an author, I'm like, coming out of the gate of chapter 1 of my book, talking about how important it is to set a budget and to track your finances. But nobody taught me this when I was in high school. This would have been probably the most important class, I feel like, that they could have taught in high school. And instead I don't even remember what they taught us, honestly, but it wasn't this. Nobody explained this to me when I was in high school. And I feel a responsibility with this big microphone and podcast to help, especially our younger listeners, start these habits young. I'm 39 years old, and every single month, and I'm so thankful that I have Layla. And that actually brings me up into point number 2, which is seek counsel. So number 1 is to budget and track your money. And then number 2 is to seek counsel. Have somebody else take a look in on how we're doing financially. Now, I have 4 people that do this for me personally. And some of you who listen to my podcast a lot, you actually know these people because I talk about them all the time. That would be Joey and Megan Coberly. That would be Sheila, who's a certified financial planner, and then Layla, the budget consultant. So I have all 4 of them. They each have 2 sets of eyes. So I literally have 8 eyes. It's 4 people times 2 eyes each. I guess if I count my own, that'll be 10 eyes. But I'm low on the totem pole because I'm biased, and I'd spend all my money on golf. You know what I mean? If it's up with me, I'd just eat out every day and play golf. But the consultants would say, no, that's not good. So, wow, we just had a big lightning bolt. Oh man, it's thundering and lightning. I got a tee time, speaking of golf, at 5:30. Let me pull this up, make sure we're still on. It usually rains every afternoon in Florida, and it's so hot right now that the guys I golf with, they don't want to play during the day. So we're going to try to squeeze a round in the evening when it cools down, but hopefully this big old thunderstorm passes through. So anyway, back to my notes here before we start talking about golf. I got it all written down. All right. Number 1 is to track every dollar. This is so important that we set a budget each month, and then we actually track how our finances are going that month. Goal number 2 is to seek counsel. To have other people help us with this, who are professionals, would be great. Number 3 is to set clear goals. So one of my goals is, and I didn't generate this goal with my own intellect. These folks who are smarter than me, Joey Coberly and Layla and whatnot, they've helped me to set a certain amount of my revenue that I transfer into what we call a tax savings account. And so one of my financial goals is every time money comes into the business, that we do an not automatic, it's a manual, but we do a transfer of a percentage of that revenue to make sure we put it in our tax savings account. So when the taxes are due, that money has been proactively saved ahead of time. Again, all of these tips are in chapter 1 of my new book, Level Up Your Money, Biblical Principles for Financial Success. And you can get your copy of this book. It is on Amazon. So that's the best place to get your copy, is on Amazon. If you're just tuning in, Level Up Your Money is now on Amazon. Talking about chapter 1, which talks about tracking every dollar or every penny, having clear goals financially, having counsel, having people look into our finances and help us. Goal number 4 is to adjust monthly. So every month, there's different expenses. Every month is slightly different. And so it's very important as we go into a new month that we look at what are my upcoming expenses this month and how can I plan ahead for this month. Then at the end of the month, to actually track and monitor, well, how did that go? And then just rinse and repeat. This stuff is very important that we do both in our individual households as well as in our businesses. And then number 5, I jotted down, once we budget, we track how our budget's doing, we have goals, we have counsel, we're adjusting this stuff monthly. Number 5 is that God can meet our effort with his favor. So I remember when I was in debt over 100,000, I owed so many debts. The SBA loan, I had a student loan, I had a IRS back tax. I had all these debts. And when I added them all up, they were over 100,000. And I was like, man, God, I need your help. And so we have to take action of, working diligently and serving our customers at a high level and earning money through serving people well. And then taking that money that we earned through serving somebody well and being disciplined with it to spend it on the right things. And it was no fun taking my hard-earned money and then paying it towards debt. There's nothing fun about that. Every time I wrote a check, or I didn't write checks, I paid online, but every time I paid online to pay the SBA or to send money to the IRS or pay the student loan, like it was like, oh, I worked so hard for that money and it's just gone. It's just gone to pay off those debts. But God helped me. He sent me favor, and it was like it's kind of like there's like wind behind my back. I like to golf, and so sometimes you're playing and there's like a big gust of wind behind you, and you can hit the ball a lot farther than you normally would if it was no wind. And so God just sent a lot of like more money, like a lot of help. And but because I had the plan that when more money comes in, I'm going to be responsible with it and I'm going to clean up this debt. And I did. I'm debt free. It's awesome. But there was intentionality and there's plans. So anyway, if you're feeling overwhelmed financially, we have to put in the effort of doing the right things, and then we can pray and ask God to help us to accelerate and to move along financially and reach the destiny that he has for us, the full potential that he has for us, because it's such an incredible time to be alive. We have all of this technology, and I'm learning more and more about how to use Grok and AI and whatever you use, whether it's ChatGPT or Grok or another one. Like, these things are crazy. And we have the internet, and I just got internet today. I was without internet there for a while, but we have the internet, we have AI, we have technology, we have so much stuff that it's such a blessing. And I just hope that we're making the most of it and making the most money that we can. But when we're earning the money, that we're being smart with it. So back to the beginning here. I don't know if you could see that. We had a big old lightning bolt out the window. Really loud thunder. Welcome to Florida in the afternoon. So in conclusion, Proverbs 27 says, be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds, for riches are not forever. And man, these lightning bolts in Florida, it happens like every afternoon, but that's why I call our hockey team the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're just these crazy lightning bolts. It's wild. And there's loud thunder. I don't know if you can hear that, but anyway, when we need to make sure that we're paying attention to what's coming in, to what's going out, that we trim the fat on what's going out, that we're not just wasting money going out. And then on the income side, we're being as prudent and disciplined and diligent and hardworking as possible to earn as much as we can with our potential, and then be smart of how we use that hard-earned money. So I hope this helps. If you want to learn more about what the Bible teaches about finances, this was just chapter 1. It is a chapter about budgeting and tracking your money. And this is what the book looks like on Amazon. Biblical Principles for Financial Success. The title of the book is Level Up Your Money. There you go. Level Up Your Money. And you can get it on Amazon. There should be a link in the description of today's episode, or you can grab that. And so thanks for hanging out with me today on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook. I appreciate you guys watching, everyone who watches on replay, and of course, all of the homies on Apple and Spotify. We got a whole bunch of people out there that listen to the podcast every single morning. It's part of your morning routine, the morning show. We try to be the morning show for you to take your life, your business to the next level. So track every dollar, set clear goals, adjust monthly, seek counsel, and pray that God will meet our effort with his favor and help us get to that next level financially, whatever that next level for you is. Thanks for listening to today's program. Again, you can get the copy of Level Up Your Money, Biblical Principles for Financial Success on Amazon. Give it a read and transform your finances. Get to that next level financially. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and hope to catch you on the next episode.